It's the Fort Hays State University Coaches Show on Eagle Community Television, brought to you by Eagle Communications.
Hello once again and welcome into another edition of Tiger Talk as the Fort Hays State football team picks up another road win. They knock off the Lopers in Nebraska Kearney thanks to a very good second half, rallying from a 10-0 halftime deficit and beat Kearney 24-17 Saturday afternoon at Cope Stadium in Kearney, Nebraska. Tigers are now 5-4. The 5 wins, the most for a Fort Hays State team in conference play since joining the MIAA in 2006, and still 2 more weeks to go in the season as they play their final home game this Saturday afternoon at 2 o'clock kick. It will be senior day as Fort Hays State takes on the Missouri Southern Lions, and then the following Saturday wrap it up in Warrensburg against Central Missouri. We will chat all about this past victory with head coach Chris Brown and take a look at the Lions as well as we move along throughout the program, which is brought to you again by Whiskey Creek Wood Fire Grill, 3203 Vine and Hayes, where the fire's always burning. Head coach Chris Brown joins us next right here on Tiger Talk. Hi, I'm Gerard Welbrock, voice of the Fort Hays State Tigers, inviting you to join me for Tiger Talk. Airs Monday nights from 6 until 6:30 on Tiger Radio Mix 103, and then the video replay on Eagle Cable Channel 14 on Tuesdays and Wednesdays. We'll talk Fort Hays State football with head coach Chris Brown, preview the last game, and look ahead to the next week's action on Tiger Talk. Monday night, 6 till 6:30 on Tiger Radio Mix 103 and on Eagle Cable Channel 14. Welcome back into Tiger Talk as we talk Fort Hays State football. Head coach Chris Brown joining us here momentarily. The program brought to you by Whiskey Creek Wood Fire Grill, and you can hop in and ask about all the many appetizers they have on the menu. They've got some good ones, including some new appetizers, the barbecue nachos, the loaded barbecue fries. If you're studying late, out with friends, maybe had to work late, getting home from the game, stop on by Whiskey Creek Wood Fire Grill, 3203 Vine, where the fire's always burning. Gerard Welbrock joined by head coach Chris Brown. Fort Hays State a 24-17 win over Nebraska Kearney on Saturday up at Cope Stadium, and kind of talked about the rivalry, and the Lopers still new to the conference in the MIAA, and it's slowly getting there. I think after Saturday, maybe that intense rivalry between Fort Hays and Kearney is back. It was a chippy game. It was an intense game, but boy, your guys really battled, especially in the second half, overcoming some adversity to win that game.
I think it is. I think the rival is coming back. We got there, and it was a very physical football game. It was aggressive. Some good hits on both sides of the ball. Guys were, talking and doing their things. But, I liked it. I enjoy those type of games. It's a physical football game. Guys are relentless getting after one another. And those are fun games to coach in. And, I didn't think the first half we were very physical, but I think we came out the second half and really set the tone and played the game the way it was supposed to be played. And we played physical and we played relentless, and we made some great things happen in that second half.
I was going to ask you about that. Down 10-0 at halftime. Was it adjustments you made? Was it the halftime talk to the team? What changed in that second half?
I thought defensively we were doing some good things. I feel like we gave them those 10 points. Gave them a couple big plays and a few missed tackles, and I feel like defensively we kind of gave them there's those 10 points, and offensively we didn't do anything. I think we had 17, 18 plays in the first half, and things have got to change. And Coach McCray came in the locker room and talked to the offense, about producing and making things happen. And it was a good turnaround for us when we came out. Made a little bit of adjustments and run our bunch set, which I've liked all year long, and it worked for us. When you saw something, we probably ran a bunch, trips bunch, 90% of the time in that second half, and how they lined up gave us an opportunity to run the ball and gain some ground running the ball. And that's the best I've seen as an offensive line block all year on the run game.
Just going to ask you about that run game, and I'm sure the weather had something to do with it. Extremely windy, by far the windiest day that you played in, gusts over 30 miles an hour. That had to dictate the game plan a little bit, but as you said, that running game, especially in the second half, as good as it has been all year.
Yeah, it was. And if we could continue to run the ball like that, through these next 2 games, it'll open up our pass game and make things happen for us, and that's exactly what it did. We hit Ed Williams on the 6-yard curl route, broke a couple tackles, and went and scored. And get the ball in his hands, he's going to do great things. He's a strong kid. He's a fast kid. He can outrun anybody. He's going to break some tackles too. So, we got to get that run game established again, week in and week out. And if we can do that, our offense is going to really explode.
Breakout game for the sophomore Kenneth Iheme, 149 yards, 22 carries, got a touchdown, and he was your guy in the second half. It was really fun to see him emerge.
It was. The only two negatives were the two fumbles. We got one of them back, but the one we lost. But those were some great holes our offensive line gave him. If you give those guys just a little bit of room, they're going to break it and hit it at any time. But he ran very, very well. Ed Smith kind of banged up his shoulder a little bit, but he'll be back this week. But Kenneth really stepped in, did a great job, ran physical. He ran very physical, and we got out in the open. He could run pretty well, so I was very proud of the way that kid performed.
Travion Albert, he only threw the ball 8 times. He was 3 for 8. One of them was that 61-yard TD pass. You said just a little 6-yard dump over in the flat that Ed Williams did the rest. But he ran for 61 yards, got a touchdown. Is kind of the Travion Albert we saw a lot a year ago.
It is, and that's what he needs to continue to do. And there's probably a few more of those plays where he actually should have kept it, and instead of handing it off. If he would have done that, he probably would have scored 2 or 3 touchdowns. But being safe, really couldn't read the end exactly what the end was doing. So taking the safe route, giving it to the back, and letting Kenneth Iheme go, 4 or 5 yards. And what I thought we did well was, we made third downs manageable. We're in a lot of 3rd and 3s, 3rd and 2s, 3rd and 1s in that second half. And when you get to that situation, you can do a lot of different things. You can either run or pass, or use your play action. And we were able to do that in the second half.
You mentioned the second half and quite a turnaround. You had 55 yards of offense at halftime. You finished with 261 in the second half, and then flipping it around, the defense gave up 237 yards in the first half. You hold Kearney to just 86 in the second half. So it wasn't just the offense, the defense really turned it up in those second 30 minutes.
It was, and it's just a change in the way the game went. The first half, our defense was on the field a long time, and when you're on the field for 35 plays, the first half maybe 40, they're going to gain those type of yards. And when your offense isn't on there very long, they're not going to get very many. Then the second half, we switched it. Our offense was on the field a little bit longer, gained the yards, and I challenged our offensive lineman. I wanted 300 yards rushing in the second half, and they got close. And then when that happens, your defense isn't on the field, and they're refreshed, and they're feeling good, and they got a lot of energy, and had a few big hits, which builds the excitement a little bit more. And we just played a lot better in the second half. Now we need to put a full game together is what we need to do.
And they still were on the field quite a bit. You look at the total plays, but it's different when you have the lead and the offense is generating, making plays. Even if you're still out there, a completely different feel.
It is. When it's 3 and out, 3 and out, 3 and out as a defensive guy, you just get worn down. You run to get to the sideline, you get a quick drink of water, and you're going to be out there in 2 or 3 minutes. And they're tired. When the offense is able to sustain some drives and keep you off the field, you feel refreshed. You get your legs back a little bit. You get your wind back, and that's what we were able to do here in the second half.
Tigers get the win, 24-17 over Kearney. We'll have a more in-depth look at the ball game when we return. The program brought to you once again by Whiskey Creek Wood Fire Grill, 3203 Vine in Hayes, where the fire's always burning. More Tiger Talk right after this. Welcome back to Tiger Talk as we talk 4-day state football with head coach Chris Brown, brought to you once again by Whiskey Creek Wood Fire Grill. And hey, the holidays are close. If you need a place for your Christmas party, maybe you need a meal catered for your Christmas party or a big family gathering coming up, check with the fine folks at Whiskey Creek Wood Fire Grill. They've got a room you can reserve. They can cater your next big function. Whiskey Creek Wood Fire Grill, 3203 Vine, where the fire's always burning. Gerard Welbrock, head football coach Chris Brown, recapping a very exciting 24-17 win at Nebraska Kearney this past Saturday. And you kind of touched on it in the last segment. Really struggled early. I think you punted on all 5 of your first half possessions, only had 2 first downs. It was kind of a here we go, same song, another verse. And it just was a really, really tough struggle early on again offensively.
It was, in that first quarter, you don't want to go 3 and out. You want to get some yards because the way the wind was blowing, you don't want to punt into it and give them a short field, and we just couldn't do it. And punting into that wind's tough for any punter. I don't care if you're rugby style or you're just a regular punter. It's tough to kick into a wind like that. But I thought our defense held their own. They did a good job of not giving them 2 or 3 touchdowns in that first quarter. I think they allowed the one touchdown, and that was it. And hats off to those guys. But we got to do a better job of sustaining drives early. and not wearing our defense out, at the beginning of the game.
Yeah, they get down in the scoring range and miss a field goal, kind of a bizarre play in which their kicker got hurt on that play and was done for the game. I thought Alex Schmidberger's interception was key. They end up scoring later to go up 10-0, but they were moving the ball. They got it down near the 20. They score there. Who knows? It could be 17-0 at halftime, and a completely different field of the game. And even though you don't score off it, that was a big pick by Alex.
It was huge, and the quarterback was scrambling, about 2 plays before that, and they had some big hits, on that play, and they were very fired up and excited, but our kids rebounded pretty quick. They weren't going to let it happen. Michael Jordan came in the very next play, had a nice hit in the hole, on the running back, and then I think 2 or 3 plays later, and we're bringing his own blitz, and Schmidberger's in the right position and picks the ball, but that kills the drive, it kills the momentum that they were having, and that puts us in a good spot, to go into have it 10-0.
How much does the wind play a factor? And how much do you have to adjust what maybe you were planning to do throughout the entire week, and then Saturday gets here and it's a 35-mile-an-hour wind, and when you're going into it, it's going to be difficult to throw, and with the punting and kicking game, as you mentioned, how much do you have to adjust? How much do you have to adjust on Saturday as opposed to what you were going to do, or did you have a pretty good idea and already have some of that built in?
As a coach, you look on Sunday to see what the weather's going to be like, that Saturday. So you have a pretty good idea. We pretty much knew it was going to be, 27, 28 mile an hour wind, and we prepared for that in practice. Pooch kicks and short passing game, and when they're going to the wind, they're going to throw short passes. When they're with the wind, they're going to go long passes with some play actions and things like that. So you got to prepare for it through the week. You got to look in advance to just kind of see how the weather's going to be.
Well, the Tigers adjust to the wind and the weather, and they have a great second half, which we'll talk about right after the break. Tiger Talk presented by Whiskey Creekwood Fire Grill, 3203 Vine, and it continues right after this. Welcome back to Tiger Talk, presented by Whiskey Creekwood Fire Grill. They have over 10 steak options on the menu: sirloins, ribeyes, the New York strips, even the porterhouse steak. Check them out at Whiskey Creekwood Fire Grill, 3203 Vine in Hayes, where the fire's always burning. Joined by head football coach Chris Brown. Fort Hays a 24-17 winner at Nebraska Kearney. 24 unanswered points in the second half after falling behind 10-0 at halftime. And it's kind of funny. 2 safeties have kind of been key plays in this entire season. The Washburn game turned on a safety in Washburn's favor, and Saturday, a bad snap over their punter's head, resulting in a safety. I shouldn't say 2 safeties, but 2 bad snaps on punts kind of turned that game there. And then this one over the head resulted in a safety. Really seemed to spark the team. You got the 2 points, got the ball back, went in and scored, and it seemed like that was the play that gave everybody some energy and new life and took full advantage of it.
It was, and it was just a little thing, snaps. You always talk about snaps. I talk to Mike Vigola all the time about his snaps and making sure they're on the target, and that one little thing like that can change the whole momentum of a game, and it did for us. And they had a kickoff to us. We knew we were going to get a short field after the kickoff because of the wind itself, and able to go down to score and put some points on the board and make it 10-9. And you're in that coach's situation. That coach, do I go for 2 or do I go for 1? But it was so early in the game, and you might as well just get the 1 point, try to kick a field goal, and take the lead. And who knows what might happen, but it's a big momentum changer, and we got to continue to use that momentum and build off of it.
Yeah, you got the ball there, 46. They had a kick into the wind, and you had a big 15-yard run by Aheem, a 19-yarder by Ed Williams, a little reverse play set up Travion Albert's 6-yard touchdown run. And it was good to get into the red zone. You'd gone, I think, 6 quarters without even getting into the red zone. Nice to get there, and then once you did, get the touchdown out of it.
It was, and it was a whole different mentality change, by our offense from beginning of the season to mid-season till now. Just the way they came out and performed, in the second half was what I've been looking for all season. And it's all mentality, it's about winning the one-on-one battles and wanting to beat that guy across from you every single play, and just being physical. I finally saw that, out of our offense, in that drive.
Forced a 3-and-out on that very next possession. You got the ball back, and the offense didn't score, but I think did what you're hoping to. They picked up some first downs and were able to flip the field, pin Kearney back at their own 14-yard line. Even though you didn't get points, it was still an effective offensive possession.
It was. You're not going to score every time. You'd love to. Every coach wants to score every play and put as many points up on the board as you possibly can, but you're not going to score every series. There's times you're going to have to pump. We did a good job of pinning them inside, but it gave our defense a chance to rest again and let them get their legs back underneath them. And when they're full throttle and they're fresh and they're ready to go, our defense is pretty good.
Got the ball back. Drew O'Brien just missed on a 47-yard field goal, but on the very next possession, that's when you hit the big hitter to Ed Williams. Got your first lead, opted to go for 2 there to push it up to a full 7-point advantage.
It was, we had to score, to get up 7 points just in case they did score, that way we could at least put it into overtime. And, did a great job, and that was a 3rd and 5, 3rd and 3, and Trayvon did a good job of throwing it to him on the money. Turned, broke a tackle, then he outran 2 guys and scored, and that's a huge play for us. It's a big momentum booster for us as well, and we just relied for them and played lights out. Force
a 3 now, get the ball back, and then Kenneth Iheme the fumble, and they've got the ball in pretty good shape. And I thought maybe the key series of the game, the defense came through. The Lopers opted to go for it on 4th down. Michael Terry comes through with a big sack. They score there. I mean, it's probably game on the rest of the way, but you kept the momentum on your side.
We did, and that was a great job by our defense. Get them in a 4th down situation and making them make a decision, either kick the field goal or they go for the 4th down and try to get a 1st down and go score a touchdown. And Mike Terry off the edge, something you never want to see your DNs do. He kind of got up the field and he came back inside, and you're saying no, 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 and then you're saying yes, 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 because the quarterback rolled right into his arms. And that's a huge play for us. He's played really, really well for us at the defensive end position.
Yeah, he really has, and you've had to battle some injuries there, and he's done a nice job. And it was good to see on the next possession, Kenneth Iheme kind of atoned for the fumble, ripped off a 44-yard run, his longest of the year, and then kind of fitting, he was able to score on the 4-yard touchdown run at that point to put you up 24-10.
It was, and our offense did a good job of, you could see that they were getting a little bit tired on defense, kind of like we have been in the past few weeks. And, you wear them out, you can keep running the ball and pounding on them, and good things will happen for you, and they get tired, and your offense is feeling good about themselves, and things will roll, and then that's what we did. On that drive, had some great blocks, and backs were seeing the hole as well, and Kent did a great job of getting downhill, not a lot of juking and jiving, just seeing the hole and hitting it and getting 5, 10. Even 15, 20 yards of carry, and that's huge to see.
Tigers score. Lopers came back to put together a nice drive, got a touchdown, but then Fort Hays State's Garrison Hendricks recovering the onside kick. And you knew it was coming. You had all the hands people up there, and he did a good job of getting that ball, securing it, and then the formation. I know every coach loves the victory formation to run out the clock.
It is, but those onsides always make you nervous. You just never know what's going to happen. And, Garrison, smart kid, went up to the official right before that and said, if it's a high bouncer, I can fair catch it, right? And we tell him that all the time. He said, yes, you can. So right when the ball was kicked, he just fair caught it, caught the ball, secured it for us, and that's a huge play in the game. And who knows if they get that turnover, that onside kick, it might be a tie ball game. Now we're going to overtime, but he did a great job of securing it for us. And then love the victory formation, makes you feel good, and your kids should feel good about it too.
Tigers get the win, 24-17. Our final segment is right after this. Welcome back one final time here on Tiger Talk, presented by Whiskey Creek Wood Fire Grill. You can always ask for honey butter with your complimentary bread every time you're in for a meal at Whiskey Creek Wood Fire Grill, where the fire's always burning. Tigers play their final home game this Saturday afternoon at 2 o'clock kick. The Lions of Missouri Southern come to town, a team Fort Hays hasn't faced in a while. Last 2 years they have not been on the schedule, and it'll be senior day, and we'll start with that. Always an emotional day. You've got a really big group of seniors who have been very instrumental in the turnaround and the success you've enjoyed here the last couple of years, and obviously nice to honor them, but you never know how they're going to play. That's always an emotional time.
It is, and you try to hold them back a little bit, keep the emotions down, but it is a hard day for them as well. It's their last home game, as a senior. And this group of guys have really put in a lot of time, a lot of effort, and a lot of dedication, to this program. In the weight room, on the practice field, in the meeting rooms, in the classroom, and they've really led this team well. And I'm very, very proud of those kids. I love those kids very much, and I appreciate everything that they've done for us so far up to this point. And they're going to continue to give, as the years go on. And I just can't thank those guys enough for what they've done for us so far.
Well, it's an interesting game with Missouri Southern. The top rushing attack in the MIAA. They run an offense that you only face when you play them. What are the challenges in preparing for this game this week?
It's option responsibilities. They're a triple option team, and you have to do your job and you have to do your assignment. One mistake, not doing your job can cost you a touchdown. So, we'll probably practice without a football this week on the defensive side of the ball, just to make sure that everybody takes care of who they're supposed to take care of on each one of their plays. And, it's rallying to the ball, it's pursuing to the ball, and, not giving them the same look every time where they get comfortable in knowing what you're doing and then able to make the blocks. But, it's going to be a tough game for us defensively because it's something we've never seen. And, if we can hold them down and take care of business early, and then we can get up some scores. That kind of takes them out of their game where they're not much of a passing team.
And that's what Pitt State did, and held them to 81 yards rushing. What did they do to make that so effective Saturday night?
They did their assignments, and that's what you got to do against a team like this. Do your assignment, do your job, and don't try to do anybody else's job. Just take care of what you're supposed to take care of. If you got the dive, take care of the dive. If you got quarterback, take care of the quarterback. If you got the pitch, take care of the pitch. And if we can do those things, we'll probably have a pretty successful day on defense.
Well, and it's a big game. I mean, you start looking at everything, still have a chance to win 7 this year, but you can't do that if you don't win Saturday night. But still a lot of goals, and can still show that success if you can take care of business Saturday.
Yeah, it is. And, we talked to our kids about that already. We had 3 games left. We got to make things happen. And, I feel like our kids are pretty locked into what we're doing. And, they want to get the 7 wins as well. And, we're going to do everything we can. We're going to fight, scrap. We're going to practice very hard this week in practice just to make sure that we are amped up and geared up to go try to get another win.
Sounds good. Coach, as always, we appreciate the time. Have a great week of practice, and we'll see you Saturday at Lewis Field.
Thanks, George.
Senior day for the Tigers this Saturday afternoon. It's a 2 o'clock kick with the Lions from Missouri Southern. You could, of course, hear the game on Tiger Radio Mix 103, 1 o'clock with the Auto World pregame show. That is going to wrap up the program for today. I certainly hope you enjoyed it. It is made possible by the fine folks at the Hayes Med Orthopedic Institute, the Taco Shop, G&L Tire and Automotive, Golden Belt Bank of Hayes and Ellis, Adams Brown, Barron and Ball, Couture for Men and Women, James Motor Company, BTI, and of course Whiskey Creek Wood Fire Grill, 3203 Vine and Hayes, where the fire's always burning. We'll see you Saturday at Lewis Field, Senior Day, as the Tigers take on Missouri Southern at 2 o'clock, and of course catch you next week right here on Tiger Talk. And you can always catch the video replay on Eagle Cable's channel 14 and 614 on Tuesdays and Wednesdays at 10:30 and 7 o'clock. For the coach, Chris Brown, Gerard Wellbrock, so long, everyone.
It's the Fort Hays State University Coaches Show on Eagle Community Television, brought to you by Eagle Communications.